Did you get nervous for half a second when Dane Dunning came in and immediately gave up 2 runs? And you're like, I know they're probably not going to come back, but what a kick.
I was not concerned at all at that point.
For half a second, I got concerned because I was like, this is going to be catastrophic.
Yes.
We score all of the runs and then just totally lose it.
And, I mean, to that point, we discussed it a little earlier this morning. Jacob deGrom was phenomenal last night. To get that, to start off the game the way he did, he looked like he was Jacob deGrom again, pitching low in the zone, hitting those bottom corners. When Jacob deGrom is throwing all of his stuff on the bottom line of the strike zone, you're not hitting him. And so to go from that and then to get to Dane Dunning, they probably felt very good about themselves at that point because deGrom had been destroying them. But Dane Dunning, he did, ultimately get you out of the game, and that's what matters.
Yes, I agree with that. Now, the idea of Wyatt Langford being the center fielder, we brought this up last year, and one of the biggest things working against him, or I guess there's 2 issues. He doesn't have a lot of outfield in general experience, let alone at center field, and then Evan Carter was still there. Well, Evan Carter went down to the minors, although...
Sounds like he's doing all right.
If you look at the last 10 games, we talked about his struggles to start the minor league season. But, that's what was probably always going to happen, right? Is you sent Evan Carter down there. My idea was to hit leadoff every single day. I realized for back management that hasn't been possible. To hit leadoff every single day. I don't care if you strike out 50 times against left-handers. Get better every single time. And he started out horribly in the minors. But if you look at the last 10 games or so, and even a little bit before that, he has really started to heat up. So part of this will hinge on, would they bring Evan Carter back up sooner rather than later to patrol center field? Because if that happens, then we won't have this conversation as much. But if not, Wyatt Langford, the center fielder.
Okay.
Because Bruce Bochy compared him to Buster Posey. And I know you might be like, well, hold on, that's a totally different position. But here's the reason. He said, you think about the talent, the player, and how smart they are. And I compare him to Buster Posey. And one of the things he said was...
So he's eventually going to be our GM, is what I'm hearing?
I mean, maybe. But he said Buster got better and better, and Wyatt has done that as well. Neither of them had a lot of minor league at-bats. We brought them up. They had to figure it out while they were up here, and they did it quickly. It shows their ability to adjust. And so you can logically translate that to defensive purposes as well. Because don't forget, Wyatt Langford didn't have a ton of experience in left field either. And then Bochy said, we've talked to Wyatt a little bit about it. I'll say this, he's a great option. He runs well. He's comfortable out there. But one of the issues right now is what happened. He just got back from the injured list.
Yep.
And as we've talked about with Josh Hamilton in the past, Mike Trout more currently, being the center fielder is brutal in terms of the running you have to do.
Puts on your body.
Exactly. And so that was one of the things that Boch threw out there. He goes, hey, we really want to ride with this for a minute, make sure he's healthy, and then we'll see. But not, I don't know. It's, we've talked to him, and we'll see. So it sounds like this could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the skill set of the player, he's the commander of the outfield at that point. He gets to kind of, control everything that he wants, and he's such a smart player. And learning the positions still. Like, you still see moments where his tracking, you're like, oh, what did he need to do there?
Yep.
Like, those still exist, but he's learning at a very fast rate. And his consistency in his daily approach, I think, is another thing that he sees that's similar to Posey in the way that they go about their business to get better. They don't get too beat up by anything. They're just so consistent and steady. And then on top of that, the power that comes along with it. So you know that there is a high ceiling for that player in particular.
And Wyatt Langford, you saw it again yesterday. I know we played the highlight of the hit when the game was pretty much over, but he had also drawn a walk. Him and Josh Smith are the only 2 consistent players you have that have an on-base percentage at 400 or, quite frankly, anywhere near 400. And so it makes a lot of sense because you've put Wyatt in the leadoff spot. And so you're like, hey, your center fielder is your leadoff hitter.
Yep.
Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense throughout the history of baseball. No, I know baseball has been evolving.
Yeah, Otis Nixon was not Wyatt Langford.
Sure.
Damon Buford was not Wyatt Langford. You know this.
Absolutely, but I'm fascinated by this idea, and I don't know how long it takes to say, hey, we feel comfortable that he's healthy. And then it might be another thing where, hey, let's wait until Corey Seager comes back. And so we're going to have like the top of our lineup constructed how we want. Then we can start making defensive shifts. Or maybe those have nothing to do with one another.
The 214, why are you guys trying to get rid of Taveras? Here's last night, he got lucky. He bobbled a ball in center field and threw it to second base, and the guy who slid into second base overslides the bag, which is weird to me that the bag has gotten bigger and I'm seeing more people overslide the bag. This doesn't make sense. They need to start practicing with smaller bags. But he throws it, the guy overslides and gets tagged out by Josh Smith. He got lucky that happened. Otherwise, that's another error, and we've seen a calamity of them from him this year, and I haven't liked it. And I'm a huge fan of his defense, and his defense has been the thing that's been beating me up this season.
And he has played significantly better over, probably like the last 3 weeks. But for the month, he has an on-base percentage of .262 and an OPS of .646. Now, you can live with that, as Cory just said, if he's rocketing around center field, making amazing defensive plays on a consistent basis, as well as the boring ones.
Yes, exactly. And the boring ones are the ones that are killing me.
Yeah, and you haven't seen that, at least with Wyatt Langford. I think you'll go through the same process, but you'll go through the process because he doesn't have any experience there. For Leody, he's been there. Yeah. He's been there for the big team.
Yeah, I said that at some point. I thought that that Altuve was going to cost the Astros 14 games this year in the outfield, and so there are moments where I'm like, man, how many is Leody costing me this year?
Yeah. So, and it doesn't have to be get rid of Leody, but I am curious how this discussion goes, whether it's because Evan Carter is ready to go or whether because Wyatt Langford is getting healthy and they've decided that's the best for the club.